How are you going to rotate your corners on Thursday?
Really don't want to let Coach Peterson hit the substitutions and how much guys are going to play and things like that. But I'll just speak in generality on all preseason games. We have multiple preseason games to get a lot of different looks, just like we do at practice. So we probably won't roll the same way in any of our preseason games. You'll see different groups because that's the whole idea, is try to get a different or the same evaluation of a lot of different guys. And the only way you can do that is to mix up your lineup.
What does Corey Graham bring to the secondary?
Same thing he did last year. He's a veteran player, smart player. Has got some flexibility position-wise, and he's a really good tackler too. I think that helped us last year.
When you look at your first preseason game in a general sense, what do you want to see from your defense?
You know, I mentioned a little bit a couple weeks ago, a week ago, whatever it was, when we had our first day of tackling in that live period. Biggest thing is communication and tackling. You know, we see a lot of stuff from these guys on the field, but we have very few chances to tackle live. You want to see that. See guys finishing to the quarterback. I mean, it's hard to rush in training camp when you're not trying to hit the quarterback. I mean, you finish a rush by, laying out and, trying to knock the ball away or trying to power through, and we don't do that in training camp. So see those guys finish rushes, to see guys finish tackles. It's one thing to say, yeah, I would have had it. Well, guess what? They're good players too. And then communication. You get into a stadium, it gets loud. I thought that was a benefit for us last night of just sort of understanding, some of the young guys understanding the home crowd.
It seems like Darby and Mills are having really impressive camps coverage-wise. Have you been reassured by that? Have they done anything to surprise you?
No, you guys noticed that. They're both having outstanding camps. They're making plays on the ball. They're playing with confidence. Those are two important things for corners. And I think that both of those guys have really elevated their games.
What did they need to do? How did they need to improve from?
I think that really the biggest thing with Darb is last year when he came to us, he was just so far behind scheme-wise, and it seemed like he was always playing catch-up, whether it was trying to play catch-up early in the season with the scheme and then trying to play catch-up with his injuries. It just never really got his feet sort of underneath him, so to speak. He's had an outstanding offseason. I'm not just talking about training camp. I'm talking about OTAs and phase 1, phase 2. He's at a different place than he was last year. And Jalen Mills, like, his biggest thing is just that confidence and his ability to play the ball. He's done both of those things, and he's continued to do both of those things.
You mentioned the fans last night, 40,000 of them at the Link Forum.
Yeah,
Practice.
It took me a long time to get home, yeah.
But what kind of impact does that have for you guys? What kind of message do you feel like you're seeing from the fans?
It's training camp's tough. You go out and it can get monotonous. Playing against the same guys, sort of just keep repping the same things. You go over to the link and you get a little different vibe. It starts, the players can feed off of that energy. It's not just game day that they feed off of that energy. It's other things. I mean, it was really cool. When they started, all the sections started competing. I generally don't even hear the crowd. I mean, you're focused in, but that's one time I did. They were all competing doing the Eagles chant. That was a real special moment for our young guys to see how much the fans are behind, to see the enthusiasm. They'll see it Thursday night, but that gave them a good taste of what they're going to get.
Speaking of young guys, what have you seen from Trey Sullivan so far in camp?
Yeah, he's had an outstanding camp. He's a young player. He plays fast. He's still a work in progress, but he's trending the right way.
Coach, your thoughts on Doug getting that extension to be here another 5 years?
No, we're all for everybody getting extensions, man. That was exciting news. It wasn't just I'm sure the Peterson family or the Roseman family. I mean, that went to our locker room, that went to our coaching staff, it went to the whole building. That's it's well deserved, and now we just need to back him up on it. And that's not just Coach Peterson, that's not just Howie, that's the whole staff behind those guys. Having those guys' backs, and I like where we are with that.